Family, welcome back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe and the bell and the like, leave a comment. So family, we are jumping back into Volt Inu, and I will say that this news is probably one of the most bullish. Look, I don't know what is going on behind here, but let's just get right into this. So Volt is planning to migrate to a new contract. Now, this new contract, I don't know in the article if they're going to give explicit detail on what the contract is, but I did look it over. There's going to be a couple of things. I do believe there is going to be a supply decrease, a massive supply decrease. And in addition to that, as far as the tokenomics, I don't know if they've actually announced what the tokenomics are going to be, but nonetheless, I am still holding my Volt Inu investment. I'm very happy with its performance. And I think a part of the contract migration is so they can get listed on even larger exchanges. And oh my gosh, man. So let's get right into this. So it says, as most of you already know, we will be migrating our token to a new smart contract very soon. After launching Volt with a trendy supply in December, it turns out that a migration is an unavoidable process if we want to keep growing and especially reach the top we all aim for. Fearing evolution and change is usually what gets you down. That's why we are more than ever ready to face this challenge, especially knowing all the benefits it will bring to Volt for the months and years to come. One of the main changes that this migration will generate is a supply decrease. The current supply will be divided by 1 billion, which will lead to a price increase of the Volt token. Price will be multiplied by 1 billion. This will allow us to reach one of the main objectives of this migration, which is to remove 9 zeros / decimals from our current price. However, we would like to point out that the market cap and the USD value of your investment will both remain unchanged after the migration. I know. If you were one of those people that were like, they're just going to remove 9 zeros and then I'm going to be a bazillionaire. Yeah, if you were one of those people, I kind of thought that may have been the case, but it's not the case. It's not the case. You're going to have the same amount of value. You may have, I'm figuring since there's a supply decrease, you're going to have less coins, but again, the value remains the same. So I don't know if you have I think if you have quintillions, you should have trillions of tokens. And if you have quadrillions, you should have billions of tokens, if the math is correct. Let's get into this. So it says, to start, for the sake of utmost security, we will carry out this migration with a partner who has already successfully completed multiple migrations. The process is still being finalized with this partner, and we will announce his name in the coming week. Regarding the migration date, the goal is to start the migration in the beginning of the first week of April 2022. The current plan is to run the main migration for 1 week, during which you will simply have to approve a transaction that will send your Volt V1 tokens to the migration address and automatically send back Volt V2 tokens to your wallet. So if you've never been a part of a contract migration, it is very, very important that you try to do this as soon as possible. It does say in the article that they will allow you to migrate later down the line, but I'm telling you right now, when it comes to migrations, you definitely want to go ahead and migrate your coins to the new contract. The way it usually works is, I'm just being hypothetical, but Volt Inu will provide a website. That website you will go to, you connect your wallet, you tell the contract deployer basically, hey, these are my V1 tokens. You click a button that says approve or whatever it'll say, swap, whatever the case may be. There may be a small monetary transaction, and then you will receive your V2 tokens. So I've been a part of multiple migrations. I've seen this many times, but I do understand if you're new to the crypto space, you may not understand what a contract migration is. It's very normal. This is the thing I will say about Volt Inu and this whole contract migration is, usually when contracts do a migration, they're not ever at this point in their, career. They're never at this point in their growth. It's usually, they may get listed on one exchange and then they got to change the contract. Volt being on like 6, 7 exchanges, and now they're saying, hey, we got to change the contract. it's most likely because they're planning even bigger things and most likely bigger exchanges. And when you talk about the biggest exchanges in the world, most of them do not have reflections. So I don't know necessarily what's going to happen. I will say the reflections thus far have been great, but let's jump back into the article. For those who missed this main migration, it will still be possible to migrate your Volt V1 tokens at any time in the future. However, all the people migrating after the main 1 week period is over will no longer receive their Volt V2 tokens instantly, but will have to wait a period of up to 1 month in order to receive their Volt V2 tokens, as all these subsequent migrations will have to be manually checked and approved. This verification process aims at preventing any malicious attempt at manipulating prices, which are the reasons why migrations sometimes fail. Indeed, at the end of the main migration week, an announcement will be made mentioning that any Volt V1 buy made after that time will not be honored and will not be converted into Volt V2. And again, this is why contract migrations are so important. And again, I got to get this information out because you got to think as investors, if people don't get this information, they're not going to hear about it. They're not going to know to migrate. And then, if you're still buying Volt V1, they're literally telling you in this article, in their official Medium article, they're like, you're not going to be able to convert those to V2 because we're telling you this before we even do the migration. This is why in crypto, you have to be on top of your investments, man. You can't just, just buy something and let it be. Don't get me wrong. It works sometimes, but when a project is very serious and they're growing and they're really taking their development seriously, you just got to hear and be on top of what's going on. So it says, unlike most of the existing migrations, ours will not result in any trading interruption of several days or even weeks on Uniswap and PancakeSwap. In fact, the only time trading will be interrupted is at the end of the main 1 week migration period. At that moment, for 1 to 2 hours, trading will be paused while liquidity is added to the new liquidity pools. For those holding Volt on CEXs, as already announced, the migration will be done automatically, as we will contact all CEXs on which we are currently listed to migrate your tokens. And it really won't be an issue because they already have basically 9 zeros knocked off on the exchanges anyways. So if anything, our decentralized price, our Uniswap price, is now catching up with the exchange pricing. And of course, I think that's, it's going to lessen some questions about, the difference there and just continue to grow Volt in the right direction. So it says, for those holding Volt on CE, okay, we got into that. It says, another technical point on which our community has already been questioned several times is whether the transfer tax will be applied during the migration. The answer to this question is no. The migration process will be built in such a way that the transfer tax will not be applied when you send your Volt V1 tokens, nor when you receive your Volt V2 tokens. And that is absolutely amazing, man. That is absolutely amazing. I gotta love it. So it says new features and major benefits of the migration. And again, this is one of the reasons why I like holding Volt. They just get you the best information they can at the best time. So let's go ahead and get into this. It talks about this, and then we'll. So it says centralized exchange listings. It says centralized exchanges are the main reason and benefit of this migration. The fact that our current price has 19 decimals is causing a lot of troubles for many CEXs who are willing to list us but cannot go ahead due to technical issues. Therefore, by removing 9 zeros and decimals from our price, it will put us in a perfect position to be listed from a technical point of view on all existing CEXs. As you can imagine, we would not proceed with such a migration if we just wanted to be listed on one more CEX. Regarding the announced listing, MEXC, as well as all the others we are currently working on, they are temporarily put on hold until the end of the migration, which will take place in the week of April 11th, 2022. However, as soon as the migration is complete, future CEX's listings will not take time to come. So the tax conversion, it says our current ETH contract converts liquidity, treasury, marketing, and development taxes once it hits 690 quintillion Volt. The conversion of these taxes generates a significant price impact, which, although every time attracting new holders, sometimes scares a bit the people who are not aware of or have not researched the mechanism of our smart contract. Therefore, in order to avoid these concerns and short-term scares, we will divide the limit at which taxes are converted by 100. This way, our future ETH contract will convert taxes much more frequently and in smaller amounts. This will be exactly the same as the tax conversion done by our current BSC contract. And that's very, very beautiful there. I mean, y'all, as y'all know, I wouldn't call it an issue. It's just, it can be just like contract migrations. Like, it's one of those things that is just new. Maybe people don't understand it. I understood it. And like I said, I'm still holding my Volt. So I'm very happy with what's going on. Burns, currently our ETH smart contract bears a total tax of 13% of all transfers, of which 4% are added to the liquidity pool. While in our BSC smart contract, these 4% are directly burned, forming one of the mechanisms making our token deflationary. After analyzing our current liquidity pool and with the aim of making Volt more and more deflationary, we came to the conclusion that it was definitely possible to lower the liquidity tax of our ETH smart contract to 2% and thus allocate the remaining 2% to a burn tax. This small change will, however, have a great impact for all of our holders, as it will make Volt significantly more deflationary, especially as most of the DEX trading volume is realized on the ETH chain. DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, as always mentioned, one of Volt's long-term goals is to be governed by a community-managed DAO. We knew for a long time that when the move to a DAO would be considered, a migration of our token would be required, since the current smart contract does not allow to allocate treasury, marketing, and development taxes to a new address. Therefore, the migration we are going to do in the next few days already allows us to pave the way for this long-term goal. The next smart contract will allow to direct all the previously mentioned taxes to the wallets that will be governed by the community DAO when all the objectives of the current roadmap are reached. It goes without saying that we will provide you with all the detailed instructions related to this migration in the coming days. In this article, we first wanted to explain in a detailed way how this migration will work and outline the massive benefits it will bring. The migration was a long-term reflection process, but we truly think that proactively addressing challenges is a must to reach the top. Keep vaulting. So, I mean, all I can say is I'm very impressed with Volt. There's no other way to cut it. There's no other way I can put it. I'm extremely impressed with this project. At every single turn, they have adjusted or calculated how to do what's best for their holders. And I think a contract, and this is one thing I've learned about investing in the cryptocurrencies myself. I have to be, like I say, when I buy any coin, like I have to mentally prepare myself for the ride that is going to come with this asset. Because realistically, Volt in the very beginning, it was doing its thing in the market. But at this point, it's addressing things that they know are going to make them an even better long-term prospect. And again, I've lived through many contract migrations. This contract migration, I don't think is anything. It's not surprising. I think it's actually very practical. I think that, like they were saying, even with the tax conversion, for some people, when they see that, it can be off-putting, and they're going to say, okay, well, then we can do it a better way. We don't want it to be off-putting. We want to grow our investors, and they are growing very, very dramatically. I haven't looked into the holders yet, but I know that Voltinu is growing pretty organically, and I think it's about to break 30,000 holders. But nonetheless, y'all, let me know what your thoughts and comments are on Voltinu. What do you think about the contract migration? What do you think about more exchange listings? What do you think that this is setting Voltinu up to do going into the month of April and May, really just the future, as they said, the years to come? That's the long-term prospect of this contract migration. So fam, I just want to thank everybody for joining me on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, and I will see y'all on my next broadcast. Love y'all, fam, and peace out.